I wanted to talk briefly about estate planning and why it's important that every adult have an estate plan in place regardless of the amount of assets that he or she may have. When I meet with prospective clients and we talk about estate planning, one of the things I like to ask is, well, what do you think happens to your assets in the event something happens to you? And there's not really a lot of certainty in most of the answers I receive. People say, I think everything goes to my spouse, or I guess it's split up among my children. But again, a lot of people don't seem to know for sure. And what you need to keep in mind is that when we talk about estate planning, we're talking about exactly that. We're talking about creating a plan so that you have certainty in what happens in the event that something happens to you. So you don't have to guess. You don't have to be fairly certain as to what happens. You'll know. We live in an uncertain world, and this allows you to have some degree of control over what actually happens. So when I talk about estate planning with clients, I talk about trying to do three things. The first thing is making sure that you take care of yourself, and that happens immediately once the estate plan is put into place. That's done by setting up things like a healthcare power of attorney, a living will, and a financial power of attorney, so that if something were to happen to you and you're in a hospital or a medical facility and you can't make decisions, there are people that you've selected who can step into those roles. The second thing I talk about with clients trying to accomplish is taking care of your family. And that's done by making sure that there are sufficient provisions in your will and other estate planning documents to provide for those family members in the way that you want to see them provided for. Again, you have control over this. You have certainty to make sure that your wishes are going to be met when the time comes for that to happen. And the last thing I talk about is taking care of the community. Now, that can mean a couple different things. You know, for some people, that means leaving money to a charity or a church or some other type of organization like that. Many people aren't in a position to be able to leave those assets to those types of organizations. But sometimes taking care of the community means something as simple as making sure that there are plans in place so that in the event that something happens to you, you're not burdening the county court system with having to determine who gets what. So those are some things to think about when we talk about estate planning and why it's really important for you to get this in place as soon as possible if you don't have it already. At the end of the day, you're going to be providing yourself and your loved ones with peace of mind and certainty. And that's a very important thing to be able to provide right now.